You can open any jar lid with just a wooden stick, without needing any special tool. In everyday life, people often have the habit of using canned or bottled foods because they're convenient and can be stored for a long time. Everything from fish, meat, fruits, to seasonings. However, once we bring those jars and bottles home, they quickly become a nightmare for many people, especially for us women, because we always have to struggle to figure out how to open those stubborn lids. Sometimes, no matter how much we twist, the cap just won't budge. It hurts our hands and still won't open. If you've ever been in that situation, then you're in luck. Today's video is just for you, because right now, Tracy is going to share 5 super simple tricks to open jars and bottles in seconds. No special tools, no effort, and anyone can do it. Especially tip number 3 and number 5. I bet you've never heard of those before. Method 1. Lightly tap the bottom of the jar. For small jars that fit comfortably in your hand, you can easily open the lid using just your palm. If your jar is being vacuum locked and the lid won't turn, no matter how hard you try, then try this method right away. First, you need to hold the jar slightly tilted in your hand. Then, use your palm to firmly tap the bottom of the jar about 5 to 10 times. When you tap, the impact from the bottom creates pressure that pushes air toward the lid, helping to break the vacuum seal that's keeping the lid tightly shut. After tapping, try twisting the lid again. You'll find it opens easily without needing extra effort. A small note: don't tap too hard, because if the glass jar is thin or you don't do it properly, it could hurt your hand or even crack or break the jar. Just use moderate, steady force, and the result will come right away. You see how simple this method is, right? This is truly a great troubleshooting trick for those small jars of jam, spices, sauces, or canned goods commonly found in the kitchen. No jar opener needed, and no need to ask someone else for help. Where are you from? It's wonderful to know that we're connecting from all over the world. Method 2. Increase the friction to make it easier to twist the lid. One of the reasons why a jar lid is hard to open is that your hands are slippery or the lid is too smooth, making it hard to get a good grip. At this point, you need to increase the friction to help your hand grip the lid more firmly. The way to do it is very simple. You can cut a piece of plastic wrap, fold it into many layers, and place it on the jar lid. Or you can use a dry towel, a pair of rubber gloves, a rubber pad, or even a rubber band wrapped around the jar lid. You just need to hold the jar firmly with one hand, and with the other hand, hold the lid tightly and twist in the opening direction. Thanks to the anti-slip support layer, the jar lid will open easily without needing to use any specialized tool. These items help increase the friction between your hand and the lid, reduce slipping, and increase gripping force. When you place the plastic wrap on the jar lid, it already provides enough grip. This method is very suitable if you're cooking and your hands are greasy. Just make use of familiar items around the kitchen, and you can handle it right away. Method 3. Gently pry the dented spot on the lid. This is one of the most common jar opening hacks that's perfect for people with weak hands like us. Simple and incredibly effective. I wonder if anyone here has ever looked closely at the lids of tightly sealed glass jars. Usually, there's a slightly indented area or a faint ridge around the lid. That is the weak point of the lid, the spot where you can apply force to break the vacuum seal inside the jar. First, you need a sharp, hard object like the tip of a pair of scissors, a small knife, or even a spoon with a thin edge. Place the tool's tip right at the dent and gently pry outward. The moment you hear a pop sound, that means air has entered the jar, breaking the vacuum seal. At that point, you just need to twist gently by hand, and the lid will open easily. The principle behind this tip is balancing the pressure inside and outside the jar. When the lid is still tightly sealed due to lower internal pressure, twisting it off is very difficult. But with just a small gap for air to enter, the entire vacuum suction will be neutralized, and the lid will release on its own. This method doesn't require much force. Just apply it at the right spot, and the lid will open super fast. Isn't that amazing? Method 4. Pour hot water to expand the lid. If you've tried everything before and the lid still stubbornly refuses to open, try this heat method. It'll definitely surprise you. First, prepare a bowl or a deep plate, place the jar lid facing down, then get a kettle of boiling water and pour the water so that it fully covers the lid. Be careful not to let the water spill over the jar body. Just make sure the metal lid is completely submerged. Soak for about 1 minute, so the high temperature causes the metal lid to expand. Meanwhile, the jar body, usually made of glass, is less affected by heat. This difference in expansion causes the lid to loosen and no longer be tightly sealed like before. After soaking long enough, take the jar out and use a paper towel to dry the water on the lid. This helps avoid slipping when turning and also prevents water from dripping into the jar when opened. At this point, just a gentle twist and the lid will pop off easily. Besides using boiling water, you can also use a hairdryer or a lighter to directly heat the lid. However, be careful to avoid burns or damaging the lid. No matter which method you use, the principle is the same, taking advantage of the metal's expansion to unlock that stubborn lid. Method 5. Use a string and a bamboo stick to create leverage. This final method is truly a lifesaver for those of us with weaker hands. Or if you've already tried everything and that jar lid still won't budge, then Tracy will show you how to use a string combined with a bamboo stick to solve it in just a snap. First, prepare a thin but strong string. You can reuse the twist tie from a snack box, a bag tie, or a soft fabric string, and a small bamboo or wooden stick, about the length of a handspan. I just use a regular chopstick. Next, tie the two ends of the string together to form a loop, then place the loop around the jar lid, tightening slightly so the string hugs the surface of the lid. After that, thread the bamboo stick through the loop and adjust it so the stick lies flat across the lid. Keep turning the stick clockwise to win the string tighter and tighter. Once the string is firmly secured to the lid, simply twist the stick counterclockwise, just like turning the lid by hand. At this point, the stick acts like a lever, allowing you to pop the lid open easily without needing much force. This tip is especially effective for jars with smooth lids that are hard to grip or have been sitting around for a long time. Not only does it save effort, but it's also safe and easy for anyone to do, especially women or elderly folks. With a little dexterity and a basic understanding of leverage, opening a stubborn jar lid now becomes easier than ever. Have you ever wondered why some jar lids can be so tight that no matter how much you twist, they won't budge? In fact, when packaging food, manufacturers often use the principle of heat to create a vacuum environment. After sterilizing and sealing the jar, the temperature inside is higher than outside, causing the air to expand. Once the jar cools, the air contracts and creates low pressure inside, pulling the lid down tightly. This helps preserve the food longer, but makes opening the lid difficult, especially for those with weaker hands. So Tracy just showed you 5 ways to confidently open any type of jar. You can try tapping the bottom of the jar to create pressure that pushes the lid up. Use a towel, gloves, or plastic wrap to increase grip when twisting. Pry gently at the dent in the lid to let air in. Pour hot water to expand the metal lid. or use a string and stick to create leverage. These methods will help you open jar lids quickly without using too much effort or time. Be sure to save these tricks and give them a try. And don't forget, if you found this tip helpful, share the video with your family and friends. You might just help them out at the right moment. And to make sure you never miss any clever, practical life hacks, remember to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you'll always be the first to see new videos.